Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Healing Unfiltered podcast with myself, your host, Erin Burns. I am a licensed therapist in the state of Illinois who is beyond passionate about helping you realize your potential and take steps towards true healing and empowerment, and I am really glad you are here. This is a space where we talk openly about mental health, wellness, and the messy, beautiful journey of it all without any shame or judgment. Whether you're here for some honest conversation, a little bit of insight, or just to feel a little less alone today, you are in the right place. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let's get into it. I'm so excited to share this space with you. What's up, guys? Welcome back to this week's episode of the Healing Unfiltered podcast. I'm doing something a little bit different this week. I am starting to use some video recording along with my audio recording, and I'm excited about it. It feels weird. It feels different. I've done this or used this on other podcasts that I do, and I wanted to do it for my own. New adventures for the Healing Unfiltered podcast. Today's episode is going to be quick, short, to the point. I don't know about you guys, but I am in a phase of life right now where things feel a little chaotic. We have a lot going on in our personal life as a family, and I have found myself needing a little pep talk. And as I was thinking about that, I was like, you know who else needs a pep talk? Probably everyone. So today's episode is a little pep talk from me to you, especially if you're feeling stuck. I really want to talk about why we feel stuck and normalize feeling stuck and maybe shift your perspective on being stuck, because I think sometimes it feels like we're not going anywhere, we're not moving anywhere, and that's just not the case. Like, you feeling stuck doesn't always necessarily mean that you are. So with that being said, I'm sure that all of you can relate to feeling stuck at some point in your life. This is something that we all go through as human beings. Life is full of ups and downs. We've talked before about healing not being linear. And so sometimes those moments of feeling stuck or those low moments really feel like shit. And I think that when we think about that experience of feeling like shit in any type of healing journey or just life in general, we kind of go automatically to like, oh my God, when is this going to end? And, you know, I feel like I've been working so hard at this. Why is it not working? Like, why am I not better than I was before? And that really minimizes our evolution as human beings. And I just want you to know that wherever you're at in your healing journey, wherever you're at in life, whatever chapter of life you're in, you're not alone. We've all experienced feeling stuck at some point. We've all kind of felt like our efforts are not going the way that we want them to go, or not leading to the progress we want to see. But that's not necessarily the case. But your brain is probably lying to you about the progress that you've made. And I promise you, you've made so much more progress than you realize. And this is a really good opportunity, if you're listening to this episode, to connect with what I'm talking about here and look at how have you made progress and how can you recognize that even in those moments when you feel stuck. So like I said, healing is not linear. This is such a cliche saying. It's so freaking true, though. Progress isn't always visible either. This is another saying that I think we need to acknowledge, even more so than the healing is not linear. I feel like that's kind of ingrained itself in our brains of like, okay, I recognize that as I'm healing, I'll be on the ups and downs of life and this roller coaster that will kind of feel like shit sometimes, and there will always be another up. But I think what I really want you to take from this is progress isn't always visible. You might have moments where you're feeling like, where the hell is my progress? It feels like I thought I made progress, and now this situation is making me feel like I didn't. Am I back at square one? And I think that in these moments of life, when things get harder, we feel stuck, we can't use those moments to determine the progress that we've made. You can be doing all of the right things. You can be doing everything that your therapist tells you to do. You can be doing everything that the books are teaching you to do, and still feel stuck. And that's really frustrating, but that does not mean that you're not growing. Sometimes being stuck is the part of the process where things are settling in. And that's when we say that when progress isn't always visible, I want that to sink in for you. That if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're not making progress, ask yourself, is the work that I've been doing just sinking in right now? Like, is this just a moment of life where I truly need to pause, let myself be, and let all of the hard work that I've done really soak into my life and my soul and my brain and my body, and let things sink in? Because integration of the work that you've done and the progress that you've made is quiet. Integration of what you've worked on and what you've accomplished doesn't look like fancy new ways of living, or it doesn't look like these profound experiences. those profound experiences where you set a boundary for the first time, or you have a hard conversation, or you make a decision for yourself instead of people pleasing, those moments that feel like progress, yes, they are progress, but those are still the moments of growth. The actual progress that we want to see in life is when those things feel normal, when those things feel boring or feel like, okay, yeah, this wasn't this huge thing. It just happened and now I'm here. So when I say integration is quiet, what I mean by that is that sometimes when the things are sinking in, it shows more progress than you realize because things are coming more naturally to you. And also, if we're feeling stuck, if we're feeling like there's not so much movement right now, but we just got through a phase of movement, maybe your system is telling you, hey, we need a break. You just busted your ass on whatever you're working on. Let's let ourselves have some time for that to sink in and really become normal. We don't want to just bounce from thing to thing to thing and continue to grow and grow and grow without giving those periods of time for things to actually sink in, right? We need to slow down and we need to allow our system time to adjust. So sometimes feeling stuck is actually your system reacclimated. I really want to circle back to this feeling of stuckness and what it might mean to you. If your body is feeling stuck, instead of being frustrated with yourself, I want you to pause and recognize, what is my body trying to tell me? So for one, you might be burnt out. Like I said, you might have just busted your ass for so long and your system is just telling you, hey, we got to slow down. Maybe you're trying too hard to get better. Maybe you're trying too hard to fix the problem or see this progress. And if we're trying too hard, again, we've talked about that finger trap game. Now with video, you can see me when I normally do this to myself. That finger trap game where you pull and pull and pull and nothing happens, you get more stuck. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe that's why we're feeling stuck, is we're trying too damn hard. I also think that feeling stuck can give us a sense of maybe what we're afraid of. So maybe I feel stuck because I'm afraid of what comes next. Maybe consciously, I'm like, well, I want to keep going. I want to keep growing. But subconsciously, I'm afraid of what will happen if I do move forward. And so I think sometimes feeling stuck might be our body saying like, hey, you want to move forward, but maybe we need to clear something out of the way first. So if you pause and you feel stuck and you recognize like, okay, I'm actually kind of fearful, or there's something that makes me anxious about what potentially could come next, we got to work on that before we can keep going. We can't keep going and make the progress we want to make if we're not clearing out the debris in the way first. The other thing that we need to pay attention to is our nervous system. Maybe we're feeling stuck because there's another priority. Maybe we're in freeze mode. Maybe we talked about freeze mode in relation to like executive functioning ADHD and then also fight, flight, freeze, right? And I think that in these moments when we feel stuck, it might be like our brain is like, your nervous system is dysregulated, but your body wants to keep going. Totally normal. That can happen for so many reasons. But if your nervous system is out of whack, you're not going to keep going. If your nervous system is out of whack and you try to grow and you try to evolve and you try to work on the things you want to work on, it's like pouring water into a bucket with a hole at the bottom. You're going to put all this effort in just for it to be wasted because your nervous system is not actually soaking up what it needs to soak up. Your brain, your prefrontal cortex is not active enough to be able to let the logic sink in and make sense of it in a way that's going to be sustainable and lasting. I also think that this is the big takeaway. A lot of times when we feel stuck, we're in a transition period. You're not in a rut. You're just in a period of time where you need to transition. You need to allow yourself to adjust to whatever is different. And really what I want you to take away from this is if you're feeling stuck in any type of progress-oriented or growth-oriented journey, there's probably a good reason for it. It's not that you're going backwards. It's not all these things that your brain is telling you. You're not going backwards. You're not plateauing. You're not going to be stuck here forever. We tend to catastrophize when we have these feelings that don't feel good for us. It's usually one of these reasons that is just pointing you in a new direction that you need to pay attention to. And that's okay. We just might need to redirect. We just might need to give our system a little more attention in ways that we haven't been because we've been working so damn hard. So with that being said, let's reframe. If you feel stuck, I want you to tell yourself, first of all, I don't need to be fixed. I think when we look at our healing journeys, those moments when we feel stuck and we kind of feel like our progress is stalled, that's kind of implying like there's a problem that needs to be fixed. And if I get stuck, I'm not going to fix the problem. And I'm always going to be this way. And I'm always going to have these issues. And I don't know, I hate that view of mental health of like, these are problems I need to be fixed. No, like you don't need to be fixed. You can grow, you can want to evolve, you can want to improve things in your life, but you don't need to constantly be fixing or changing something. You might just need to be paying attention to yourself. So in that moment, like, okay, I don't need to be fixed. Maybe I just need to sit with myself. Maybe I just need to give myself some freaking credit for the work that it's done. Like, think about this: when you bust your ass on a project at work, or you clean the whole house and nobody notices it, that feels like shit, right? Like when you work so hard for something and nobody gives you that credit, or nobody says like, oh my gosh, thank you, that was huge, or you did a great job. A lot of times when we don't get acknowledgement for the things we're working so hard on, that really hurts. You're doing that to yourself. When you're stuck and you're feeling like, I need to keep going, I need to do the next thing, you are not giving yourself the credit that you deserve. So sit with yourself, give yourself some credit for the work that you've done. Be proud of yourself for the work that you've done, and figure out what your body and your system needs right now before you just keep moving on. I think that in those moments, if we can soften a little, if we can apply some self-compassion, then it not only makes us feel better in the moment, like, yes, that's great to feel better in the moment, but it makes the progress that we're making that much more sustainable and that much more meaningful. If we can actually look at ourselves as human beings who need love and attention and affection and compassion and encouragement, versus like this hustle culture of, it's not good enough, you need to go do more. You don't need to go do more. I promise you, you don't. You're doing enough. As long as you are paying attention to yourself and you're being honest with yourself and you're not avoiding, let yourself be every once in a while. It's okay to let yourself be. So some reflective questions you can ask yourself if you're feeling stuck. Okay, what am I maybe afraid of? That's something that I mentioned a little bit ago, right? Like, what am I afraid of happening if I keep moving forward? Maybe I have figured out how to have a little more confidence, and like I get stuck after that because now it comes time to incorporate boundaries in my life with other people. Maybe I'm afraid of how other people are going to react to me if I actually change or grow in the way that I want to change and grow. So maybe that's really scary for me. If that's the case, maybe we're biting off more than we can chew at that period of time. You're expecting yourself to grow or not be stuck by going out and setting that boundary or incorporating this into your relationships. Maybe you need to take a step back and figure out why you're afraid. Maybe there's more inner work that needs to be done before you go out and do the external work. So what are you avoiding feeling? What are you afraid of feeling? What do I need right now that I keep postponing? This is a huge reflection question that, whether you feel stuck or you just feel chaotic in life, I want this to become maybe like a staple reflection question for you in the day-to-day life. Because a lot of times if we feel chaotic, if we feel overwhelmed, if we feel stuck, there's something that our system needs right now that I just keep pushing off, just keep pushing off. Okay, like if I get through my to-do list, then I can rest. Well, I got through my to-do list, but now I have to make dinner. Once I make dinner, then I can rest. Okay, well, now the kids need baths and I got to get the kids down for bed. Once that happens, then I can rest. And then we end up sitting on our phone scrolling and staying up late at night instead of actually resting. So what are we postponing that is preventing our system from actually getting to a state of regulation? That is a huge thing that we need to learn how to check in with ourselves about, because if we keep postponing the thing that we actually need, we're never going to get to the growth that we want. Okay, so we need to be able to check in with ourselves and recognize, what do I need right now? It might not be the thing that you're striving for or the thing that you think you should be pushing yourself for. But if you can check in with yourself and you say, you know what, I do need rest. I can give the kids a bath tomorrow. That can wait. They can go watch a TV show. Or my friends want to hang out. I need solo time. Or the opposite. You know what? Like maybe I need to clean my house, but I need socialization to get myself up right now. Don't postpone it. And I'm not saying always give in to those things that you want or things that you feel you need. But if you're somebody who keeps putting that off and, well, I'll rest when I'm dead, or I'll do this when. Okay, but how often does when actually come and we actually follow through with what we need? The other thing that I want you to look at is, what if I just let this be a season of life instead of a problem to fix? What if this is just a phase that I got to go through? I'm going to shout out a friend of mine who shared a video with me that actually is something I talk to my clients about a lot. And I think I've mentioned on the podcast a couple times. I talk a lot about, like, in reference to getting hurt, right? Like if I'm afraid of, maybe I went through a really bad breakup and I'm afraid of entering another relationship because I'm afraid of getting hurt again. What that boils down to is you don't trust yourself enough to handle the hurt. You're going to get hurt at some point in your life. Even in the healthiest of relationships, those people hurt each other. So we are so afraid of getting hurt that we hold ourselves back. What that tells me about where someone is at is you don't trust yourself enough to handle whatever it is that's going to happen. So I talk to my clients about that a lot, especially in relationship or in relation to relationships and breakups and all that. A friend of mine sent me a video of this woman talking about some advice her therapist gave her, and she was talking about a similar concept in relation to anxiety. That when you're like, well, what if this, what if that? Like, I need to fix this problem so that XYZ doesn't happen. The version of you that will handle whatever that problem is has not developed yet. So you're putting yourself out there in a way of like expecting yourself to know how future you is going to handle a problem. That version of you has not developed yet. So maybe this is a season of life that you just need to exist in, and whatever you're afraid of for the future, you need to trust that future you will know what to do when the time comes. It is okay to sit in whatever season of life you are in now and trust that when time comes for you to handle whatever you need to handle, you'll be able to handle it. Because let's be real, if you have anxiety or you deal with anxious racing thoughts or those what if thoughts, how many times do you go through what if this, what if that? And then when it comes time for the actual thing that you were what ifing yourself about, none of the things you prepared for happened. Or even if they did, you were way more capable of handling it than you thought you would be. That's what we're talking about here. Is we waste so much energy in the present. Instead of just letting ourselves be, we waste that present energy by putting it forward, by looking at what's going to come, what do I need to be prepared for? Let this be a season of life. If you're stuck in this season of life, let yourself be stuck, because being stuck is probably a signal that you need something else other than just moving on. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. Quick little pep talk. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not doing it wrong. That is, I think, one of the things that comes up so often is people are like, well, how do I fix this? And then when I get on the journey of fixing it, what if I do it wrong? What if I don't do it right? What if I'm like failing at healing? How can you fail at healing? If you show up being honest to yourself and to maybe your therapist, whoever's helping you, you show up vulnerably for yourself, especially, how can you fail? Like you're bringing yourself into a space to already grow by just acknowledging what you're going through. So you are not doing it wrong, I promise you. And if you are stuck, that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong either. That just means you might need a little more attention to yourself than you're giving yourself versus the attention you're giving to future you. You're allowed to pause. This is the other thing. You're allowed to pause and still be healing. If you pause in your healing journey, if you're not actively doing something to improve yourself in that moment, what do you think your brain is doing 24/7? Your brain doesn't just stop working, right? Your brain is still processing a lot of stuff even without you consciously thinking about it. So you're allowed to pause and let these things sink in. And that pause is still a phase of healing because your brain is still doing the work. You're allowed to rest, even if you're on a journey of working really hard to accomplish something or to change something. And you are doing better than you think you are. I promise this to be true. As therapists, we try to avoid promises. Like, I can't promise a certain outcome. I can't promise that the thing you really want to happen will happen. One thing I can promise is you are doing better than you think you are. And I really hope that sinks in, because a lot of times we minimize how well we are doing. And I'm not saying doing well as in like, oh, I'm doing really well, I'm really happy and things are going well. You are existing in a world and a life that is really hard to exist in. And you are doing way better with that than you think you are, because you are getting up every day and you are doing the things you have to do. And even if you're not, even if you're having a day where you can't get out of bed, you can't do all the things, you are showing up for yourself in some way. You are doing better than you think you are. And if you take a step back and stop shaming yourself for whatever level you're at, that's going to allow you to get to whatever next level you want to be at. So I hope this helps. I hope this pep talk gives you guys a little permission to be stuck or give yourself attention or not shame yourself for feeling stuck. And I think when we stop shaming ourselves for feeling stuck, we notice that we get out of feeling stuck a lot more quickly than if we sit there and try to force it. So don't feel like you have to force it. What is meant to come will come. And we might need to put a little bit of effort into that. Well, we do need to put a lot of effort into that, but there might be times in life where you don't have any more effort to give. And the effort that you would give towards pushing yourself to do something that you're not in a space to do, I want you to put that effort and energy into sitting with yourself and being compassionate towards yourself, because like I said, you're doing way better than you think you are. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts, questions, how this resonated with you. And I'll be back next week with another new episode. See you then. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Healing Unfiltered podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who might also love to tune in. And as always, be kind to yourself, others, and the world. See you next time.